Where we going, boys? Where we going? We're gonna have some fun. That's where we're going.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I want to talk to you about something near and dear to my heart, glass. Oh, glass. Beautiful, see-through, sand. Glass. Of course, some of you may realize that I am, of course, speaking about scopes, optics, red dots, things of that nature. I just want to go over some of the differences, some of the advantages, and some of the fallbacks of a red dot optic at 1x, a fixed zoom optic, something like my 4x32 brow that I have over here, and an LPVO, a low power variable optic. We're going to be using my Vortex Strike Eagle V2 Mark II, whatever it is, it's a 1:8. And I'm going to talk about some of the very obvious differences and why some of these are useful in different situations. So let's hop right into it. Okay, just for a second, we're just gonna admire this row of beautifulness right here. Ooh and
So first off here, we've got the loopholed carbine optic, the LCO. This is a 1-to-1 red and green dot, and it allows extremely rapid target acquisition and allows you to keep both eyes open very easily while using it. It's really nice. Even out to 100 yards, I've used this. Obviously, I prefer something magnified, but it's very nice even out to 100. The battery was dead in it this day, so unfortunately I can't show you the different levels, but the red and the green both have multiple levels of brightness, and the thing runs off of a CR123 battery. This is the Brow 4x32, a fixed 4x optic. This is crazy clear glass. You get extremely wide field of view, but unfortunately you have to get right up on it to get that wide field of view. If you back off at all, then you definitely lose that. It's almost like an ACOG in this way, where you kind of have to climb right up on it, but the glass is absolutely superior to anything else I've ever used. The eye box is a little bit tight, so if you moved out of it left or right or up and down, you lose it. And last but not least, we have our LPVO. Here we have the Strike Eagle 1:8 by Vortex. This is a fantastic optic, and I run it on my 7.62 by 39 AR-15 here. Now this, at 1x, like we are now, the eye box is absolutely massive. Very, very easy to acquire. You can even 2-eye it very easily. And out to about maybe 5 to 6 power, it's very, very simple to get that eye box. But after you go between 6 and 8, it gets a little bit tighter, a little bit harder to find, but it's definitely still clear once you get there. The adjustment ring on top is extraordinarily smooth, especially since I've got this throw lever on here. So it's really easy to get between your different settings.
So essentially, one of the best things that you can possibly say about a red dot is that it is fast. You can transition from a low ready to having your reticle on target extremely quickly. The front of this one and a lot of them is mirrored, so you're not going to get a bunch of light glare on the inside. This is a more pricey option, I will say, but even a lot of the less expensive ones have kind of a mirrored finish to the front of them. Not all of them, but that's definitely a perk if it's something you actually want to look for. Because yeah, there's zero sun glare in this, even if I'm, let's see, I'm being blinded by the sun. But the entire way up, there's no glare on it, even if I'm looking almost directly into the sun. I'm not going to look directly into the sun because I'm not an idiot. But any red dot is going to be nice at closer ranges for sure, especially if you need to snap on target quickly. Where you get a major drawback is at range. Like I said, I can shoot this at 100, and I have shot this at 100. Well, first of all, it's a 7.5-inch pistol, and it's garbage at 100. So that compounding with just a red dot, it doesn't do great. Normally I shoot this at 50 and below, but I mean it'll shoot 100. Just it's a lot more challenging than having something, you know, with some sort of magnification on it. But for 100 or less and a really good snappy option, a red dot, green dot, or even a holographic sight like an EOTech is an excellent option for sure. Now I am filming this portion on a different day, so I don't have access to the brow that I've shown previously. I'm going to be using this Trijicon ACOG instead. It has exactly the same grass on it. It has exactly the same magnification and field of view as the brow does, and it's generally around the same price. So I guess you're getting what you pay for in that. For these, I think they're kind of, I mean, they, at one point they were the gold standard. More or less, I think they're on their way out. Not entirely, not in all situations, but I just feel like the low power variable optics are very much pushing them out of the market. Just because it's a fixed magnification. You can get these at 4 times, you can get these at 6 times, but that's what it's going to be. A lot of times you'll see an optic, a red dot on the side at a 45 degree, so you can go from your 6x over to your 1 and make that small rotation there. This has iron sights on top of it, so you can come up off of it, but then you're kind of losing a cheek weld coming up off of it. I don't know, it's not my favorite way to do things there. And there are some of these that actually have a flat portion on top here where you can mount an RMR, and some of them have like a little Picatinny up here if you're putting something else on. I think you can actually attach a Picatinny where this rear sight is bolted down here. But I mean, a lot of guys have trained with these for a lot of hours and are very good with them. And it's not my personal preference. It was the brow was actually my first sort of ranged optic, or battle optic as it would be considered, and I mean I like that optic a lot. It's extremely clear, extremely expensive compared to what you would get these days with an LPVO. So I don't know, in my opinion they're more or less on their way out the door. I'm gonna have 100 people shooting at me for saying that. Sorry guys, but that's just my opinion on it. But these are still very much in use and very popular. The biggest problem that I have with these are that you have to, because of the field of view is so wide. It's a 4x32, and the wider your field of view, the closer you actually have to be to the back of your optic. So you can climb on it about here. So we are, with any recoil larger than a 5.56, you're risking getting a little bit of a black eye there. But if you got iPro on, and this will mash into your iPro all day, you won't have to worry about it, even if you're popping off 308 or something like that. But I mean, it's a very narrow eye box, even left, right, up, down, on all axes. It's a very narrow eye box. You have to be in exactly the right spot. Once you find that right spot, you are going to be unmatched for clarity, in my opinion, except for some extremely high variable power optics, just because the glass is superb on these, and hence the price tag on them. But all that said, it's still an option, especially if you're going to throw something on a 45, so you can transition. Real world, I would 100% go with a low power variable optic over this, but once again, just my opinion. Alright, last but not least, my personal favorite here is this particular LPVO, low power variable optic. This is the Vortex Strike Eagle 2 1:8x24. Now by that 24, as opposed to the 32 of the previous optic, you will be able to tell that the field of view is much smaller, but it's still very, very clear. You can see plenty around your target, and the beauty of this one is that the eye box is massive and massively forgiving. So if I've got it at 1x here, it's a true 1x, so I can actually just keep both eyes open very, very easily, just like I could on the red dot. But if I actually need to reach out, now halfway there, I've already reached that 4x that the ACOG is at, and I can I can get my eye, let's see, there we are, there we go. I have this much eye relief on my 4x, as opposed to, you know, climbing right up on it and having to look down it. And I've still got a very, very nice field of view. I could technically, yes, keep both eyes open on this. It's pretty wonky looking, but a lot of guys train to do that, and it's probably a good idea. Keep your peripherals open for you. So once we get to about 6 power, we're talking there, right there. And I can't move off axis more than a little tilt of the head like this before I'm losing that that box. So it does start getting a little more challenging to stay in that eye box as it you know, cuts in a bit. If I go all the way down to 8, this actually tends to be a little more challenging. Not something I can do right now with 2 eyes open, but about right here is where I'm sitting. And if I kind of move in any direction whatsoever outside of that eye box, then I'm losing it. But it still offers more flexibility than a fixed power optic. The drawback here is that it's not always going to be consistent like a fixed power optic is going to be. If I jump on a fixed power optic and I've trained for hours and hours and hours with that optic, I'm going to know exactly what my target is going to look like, where I need to adjust very quickly. Whereas something that's variable, if my target is very close, I aim at it, I'm at 8x, oh crap, I gotta crank it over, you know, to 1 or 4 or whatever, and then make that adjustment. The fact that that adjustability is there is very nice, but the fact that it's not necessarily going to always be in the same position, it can get a little hairy, I guess. I see a lot of people running these as well with a red dot on a 45, just because then you can set it, you know, at your 6x, your 8x, whatever, and then still make that very rapid transition instead of trying to go to your target, bang, 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 go to your target, bang, bang, bang. Because every time that you crank that lever, it does take a little bit of time, a very small amount of time, to put yourself back on target. So you know, it's a good option to have something on a 45 here as well, and I see that quite often. This is my personal favorite style of optic right now. I shoot mostly at 100 yards, and I don't know, if I'm doing any like distance transition stuff, generally I'll just keep it like at 2, 3, something like that, because I mean I can hit what I'm aiming at 100 at 3 power. That's no problem at all. Even 1 power, although I do tend to prefer a bit of magnification. But this is definitely a very good option if you need a little bit more of that flexibility, and if you're shooting, you know, if you're shooting at variable ranges and stuff like that. So as you can see, every single one of those optics has their place, has their strengths and weaknesses. I don't know, I love that brow, but the fact that I can get a 4 times magnification with the Strike Eagle as well, and the Strike Eagle was like 450 and the brow was like 1300. It makes a really big difference. Obviously the brow is extraordinarily high quality. It is a wonderful optic. The clarity on it is absolutely fantastic, and the field of view is great as well. 4x32 is perfectly acceptable battle optic. It reaches out to 100 easily. I've never shot it beyond 100, but competent people can shoot it at 500, 600, whatever. You're gonna hit what you're aiming at if you're a decent shot, and that is a beautiful optic to do it with. I love the loophole. The LCO on this 7.5-inch barrel AR pistol is just, it's one of my favorite things. Just the dot is so crisp, whether you go red or green. Unfortunately, obviously the battery's dead right now. The Strike Eagle and the brow both have etched reticles, so whether there's a battery or not, you can still see a reticle of some sort in that black or grayish kind of way, but they both also do light up if you need them to. So thank you for joining me and listening to me blabber about these lovely optics. I hope you come back next time. If you are looking for more of this kind of stuff, check out the channel, wander around, get a little lost, who knows. At the end of the video, I'll put up whatever the most recent thing I filmed was. Take a look at it. Sub if you like it. Hit the bell if you want to see more of it, and leave me a comment. to say all the mean things you want to say about my horrible Overwatch shirt that I've had for 3 videos now. I promise it's all been on the same day. I'm not wearing the same shirt for 3 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever my schedule is, I promise. Anyway, everyone out there, you stay safe. Have a wonderful day. Don't lick any doorknobs. I'm sticking with that. Like it or not, don't do it. Bye.